We embark on a journey through the complex web that weaves the road to progress, economic growth, and development in Jamaica. Over 20 agencies, one ministry. Together, we create a story, a tapestry of progress and opportunities, a remarkable mosaic of hope for the future. Join us as we navigate this interwoven landscape, discovering how every portfolio and agency under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation play a crucial role in national development. From housing to land, to infrastructure and investment, let's unravel the threads of success one by one as we explore the MEGJC Matrix. Our conversation begins with the National Land Agency and the Housing Agency of Jamaica as we explore the nuances of land titling and how the HAJ has been improving lives through the delivery of housing solutions. I am Danny Clark, and this is The Matrix. Joining me today are Mrs. Doreen Prendergast, Managing Director of the HAJ, and from the National Land Agency, we have Mr. Nicole Young, Manager, Land Administration and Management. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good morning, Danny. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Hi, Mr. Young, you all right? Same here. All right, wonderful. Now, today we're going to be talking about land titling, and of course, a little later, we're going to be talking about housing. This matter of land titling, by the way, not many persons know that the HAJ is very involved in land titling, and I know that you have many land titles in the vault. So talk to us about, first of all, the role and responsibilities of the HAJ and the role and responsibilities of the NLA. We'll start with you, MD.
Thank you very much. The mandate of the Housing Agency of Jamaica Limited is to provide safe, affordable, and adequate housing for all Jamaicans. And we do so by providing greenfield developments as well as brownfield developments. We have approximately 82 brownfield communities in our responsibility. And we also are currently undertaking quite a number of greenfield developments. One of our flagship projects pertains to the Catherine Estate housing development, where we're providing low-income, affordable housing for persons who would not ordinarily qualify for housing developments. And so you find that, yes, we do our brownfield developments, but we are also working in some of our greenfield developments at the same time. And this is with the intention of bringing more housing solutions, more benefits to persons who are in need of housing solutions right across the country. We have approximately, as I said, 82 informal settlements. We do not tackle all of them all at once. But we are currently working in like Grangepen in St. James, where we are putting in roads, we are putting in water, we are bringing in electricity, and we are empowering the persons in these communities to improve their lives, to be able to unearth the wealth that they have, latent wealth that they have, to bring it to life so that they can take their certificates of title to a bank, to a credit union, and they can use this to get a loan to educate their children, to build on their homes, to improve their homes.
But before we get there, explain for our viewers the difference between a brownfield and a greenfield.
All right, a greenfield development is one that starts from scratch. Nobody was settling there, nobody was living there. So you would have done a planned subdivision, you get your approvals, and you do your development. With the brownfield developments, these are informally occupied lands. Yes, people go there for various reasons. Some might have gone to work in the tourism sector, can't find adequate housing, can't afford the rental in some places. And so they set up informal settlements.
So this is what you call squatting?
Yes, not kidding. But yes, it is what we call squatting, but we also use the term informal settlements. And so they might have built these housing developments, but they have no legal tenure. And when you have no legal tenure, it makes the whole development insecure because you're not sure when you will be evicted, you're not sure when someone will come to knock down your housing unit. So people tend to build not very sustainable housing. And well, in recent times, I find that some persons are building. Yes, in recent times that has changed. But people are insecure. So that sense of place that they should have is not there. Because they have one foot in a sense, and one foot out. So they're not really very, very comfortable. And so the sort of community structure that you would like to see is not there. But when we go in and we regularize these communities and we put in the roads, we put in the sewage, we put in the water, we get the electricity into the communities, people feel a sense of ownership, a sense of place. And so you find that they now start to put in place governance structures. And governance structures where they can have a say in what happens in their communities. They can connect with each other. And so you find that this helps to build what we call sustainable communities, and it fosters social inclusion. So when I'm talking about social inclusion, you're connecting with each other, you're taking decision, you have a voice, and this fosters this.
When you take responsibility for your space, you know, it's not just doing as you please, but no, you own this piece of land.
Yes, you own this piece of land. And what it does also, it cuts down the tension that exists in these communities, the tension between the economic, the social, and the environment. Now persons see the importance of working together and taking responsibility for their spaces and taking responsibility for their communities. So the governance structure is often enhanced once they have legal tenure. You find that persons identify a community leader, they interface with their members of parliament, they interface with other social institutions that can assist them, and they work together and you have a more harmonious community. It also enhances the work of the state in that the police can now go into these communities easier. And you find like the facilities that come with like garbage collection and all of that, all those things are enhanced. And persons can live better. They feel much happier that they live in a community that is now recognized. And it bolsters their dignity. So that is what the HAJ does. HAJ is about helping people to improve their life.
Elevating people.
Elevating people.
Wonderful. Thank you, MD. Mr. Young, talk to us about the NLA. I know that NLA has a whole heap of land out there and everybody wants a piece of land, but we'll get to that. But talk to us about NLA.
I'm not sure if I can say or agree with you that the NLA has a lot of land. I know that the NLA, through the Commission of Lands, will hold land on behalf of other entities and also the Crown. But what is important is that the National Land Agency is the place where we have all the land information and we assist persons in various ways, namely to upgrade or update valuation roles, update titles, assist persons in securing new titles. We also, through the LAMD division, Land Administration Management Division, assist persons in estate management. So we do offer a lot of services. What I can say is that without a doubt, that the circumstances that touch and concern land is that the National Land Agency instills confidence in persons who are interested in owning property or persons who own a property, and we want it to remain that way, wherein when you engage in a transaction, you're confident and you're sure that it is bona fide and it is acceptable in general.
Okay, wonderful. Now we're going to go deeper into this whole idea of land titling. But before we go into, how it is that we obtain a land title through the HAJ or through the NLA, what is the big deal about owning a piece of land? Why do I need to have that ownership? What are the benefits to owning a land title?
Well, there are significant benefits to holding a land title. For one, you are on the register books, and this gives legitimacy. And when you have this certificate of title, you can use it for various transactions, and it is unearthing latent wealth. The wealth is no longer dead. You bring this wealth to life. You can use it for various means to enhance yourself, to enhance your family. So having certificate of title, it brings legitimacy and it causes persons to feel more secure. It bolsters their dignity. So it is a good thing to have.
Right?
In adding to that, I would say that in similar light, when they are doing economic transactions, you will hear persons are not participating in the formal economy. It's similar to land. When you don't have a title, you're not really part of the formal economy in the sense that you have the land, but you can't really benefit as you ought to. So you might have a family member, and this is the reality, you might have a family member who has an issue with the courts, maybe need to get bail. If you were to have a title, you could assist. You want a loan to assist children or other family members, or maybe to improve your housing situation. And you can't really exercise it without a title, because when you have a survey or your name is just on the valuation roll, persons are unsure as to who the owner really is. If you want to sell without a title, persons are the potential purchasers are unsure as to who is the owner. So when you have a title, it eliminates the doubt, instills confidence not only in the owner of the land or the proprietor, but also in potential purchasers and other parties like lending institutions who would want to do business with you.
And it also fosters orderly development.
Yes.
You know, so you have your land surveyed and you have proper titles for the land. You're less likely to have these haphazard developments taking place on lands that are properly owned and registered.
All right, well, I hope that our viewers are taking note for those who are still waiting and wondering if you should go and get a land title. If you have a land title with the NLA or with the HAJ, be sure to go and get that title, because at some point in time, you're going to need it. Mr. Young, talk to us now about how do I obtain a title through the NLA?
It varies, because there is an ad hoc process and there's also a systematic process. But let me address the ad hoc first, in the sense that a person who owns a property, you have to survey the land. You should be paying your taxes. And we recommend, it is customary that whenever you're purchasing land or acquiring property, that you have documentation. The reality is that, as per our culture, a lot of persons will purchase land, gift land, but there is no documentation. And without documentation, there is doubt as to ownership.
Hold a second. You said persons will purchase land and gift land, and there's no documentation?
No documentation.
How that work?
I think it is sometimes ignorance on the part of the purchasers and perhaps desperation also. So I need a parcel to build, and I'm told that it is being sold, and I just engage in a transaction. And it's not as if you go to the supermarket and you just purchase. And even when you go to the supermarket, you do get a receipt. So it is important that we have documentation whenever land is being sold. Or if in the circumstances, if you indicate that you have a parcel of land that you want to give to me today, I will be interested in ensuring that you execute a deed of gift. Because without the documentation, the land doesn't change hands. So proof of ownership is an issue, but you do have to submit to us your proof of ownership, your survey, your tax information. You also need to provide us with the names of 2 persons who we refer to as your supporting declarants, who can support the history that you will provide to us. Why is a history important? In a lot of instances, I am the purchaser, but my name is not on the valuation roll. What does that mean? It means that I might have purchased the land from A. A's name is not on the valuation roll, but A got the property from B. B's name is on the valuation roll. So in providing a history, I would have to state that the property was owned by B until it maybe was sold or gifted to A, and A then sold it to me or gifted it to me. Or perhaps A died, I probate A's will, or administered his estate and is now applying for title. So you have to provide a history, and as such you have to go as far back as is necessary to account for the names on the valuation roll.
But I wish to say that some of these lands would have been family lands too.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the country where you had family lands and someone would just point out your piece of land. It is bounded by a particular tree and so. It wasn't until I came to Kingston and studied urban and regional planning that I realized that we should have been having a proper subdivision plan, and you should have gone and got it approved, and then the generation of a certificate of title. So I guess in some instances, in not all instances, it is that people want to even necessarily break the law. Sometimes it's out of ignorance, that they might not have gone for a certificate of title. But the NLA is doing a very good job in educating persons in this regard.
Because after today, I'm sure that the persons who are in the country, where we are from, after today, don't just pass money to somebody and expect that it's your land. It's not. I hope that you just listen to Mr. Young and you now know how it is that you can officially be the owner of this property. MD, talk to us now about HAJ. What is your process for land titling?
It is sort of straightforward in relation to our greenfield developments, because we would have got formal subdivision approval and we would have had our pre-check plan and all of that, and the certificates of title would have been generated, and once persons pay for their solution, then they would get their certificates of title. In the brownfield communities in which we work, it's a little different, because most times we have to go in and do like as-built surveys and then do our pre-check plans and work with the NLA to generate the certificates of title. And once the persons who are occupying these communities, once they make their payment, because we would have, most times we sell the lands in these developments at the market value or less. Most times it is subsidized. And so once they pay off the amount of money that is agreed for their parcel, we transfer the certificates of title to them, working through the NLA to get that done. And that normally takes, say, 6 to 8 weeks for them to get this. Interestingly though, some persons would have maybe completed their transactions and have not collected their certificates of title.
Yes, let's talk about that. The number of titles, the thousands of titles in the vault. We have some at the ministry. HAJ has some, NLA has some, so many of the persons are coming to collect them.
I think some of them think that it is for safekeeping. It is best if it stays with the agency. And of course, some do not show up until they have a difficulty. For example, as Mr. Young mentioned, they may have someone who is arrested and they need to bail them and they want to use the title and they come in. So we do have some in our vaults, and we do encourage the residents. Sometimes we put notices in the newspaper. And of course, we have a community development team, a very strong community development team on the ground led by Mrs. Nakia McMorris. And they would go into the communities, engage with the persons, and encourage them to come in and collect their certificates of title.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are some of the issues? Because I know, when I speak to the legal representative at the ministry, Ms. Ramsaran, she has a plethora of issues when it comes to land titling. They don't have their proper name, so whatever name they started out with 10 years ago, the name changed about 3 or 4 times since then. So what are some of the issues that you have within your agencies where, as it relates to land titling, Mr. Young?
Some persons will not be aware of the correct spelling of their names, but that is not so prevalent, but it does occur, wherein they might give us certain instructions and they'll sign with confidence as to a particular name, but when you get the birth certificate, it's different. The issues with land titling is quite diverse, because what we do realize is that a lot of persons purchase land, but they are ignorant to the fact that they should pay transfer tax and stamp duty. And I might purchase a parcel. I saw one recently, property purchase for $3 million. And you ought to pay the transfer tax and the stamp duty. And the transfer tax is to be paid by the vendor. Now, what you have, which is 2%, and it should be paid within 30 days of assessment, or within 30 days of the purchase, it should be submitted to the stamp office for assessment. A lot of persons don't know this. So when they come to you and you indicate this to them, so they'll be paying now 4% because it attracts 100% penalty. Yes, 100%.
100% penalty?
Yes, it does. It attracts 100% penalty. When you tell them this or provide them with this information, it's sometimes a deterrent to them. You will have other issues where the process is delayed because when the matter is to be submitted, the survey diagrams are expired because the lifespan of a survey diagram is 7 years, and you can update it with a surveyor's declaration provided that all the survey boundaries or the pegs are in place. Sometimes you have another delay because persons can't find the monies to pay for the declaration. But clients who are our clients, sometimes we have our surveyors who will visit the location and, if it's possible, process the surveyor's declaration. You also have it where, as was said, persons, I would not say rural Jamaica because it's right across the country. I am told that this little parcel is mine. I retained the services of a commissioned land surveyor and I surveyed that parcel. But what happens? I am ignorant of the fact that I should get subdivision approval. So subdivision approval is not sought through the municipal corporation with the assistance of a commissioned land surveyor who would have prepared the subdivision plans. And when you are now ready to open a file and you provide a customer with this information, they are disappointed, and sometimes on the financial ground they can't proceed. But we have options through the Special Provisions Act, wherein we can assist them with subdivision waivers, provided that they have met the requirements. So you have subdivision, which is an issue, failure to pay the relevant duties, or they are ignorant of these requirements. And in most instances, in a lot of instances also, not most, in a lot of instances also, persons will sell what is referred to as dead left land, in the sense that there is a notion that the eldest child has the power, and that is a farce. Because if I were to die and I have children, all of them are on the same level, same footing. So my estate would have to be probated or administered, and the personal representative could then act. It is customarily believed that the eldest person has the standing, and as soon as I am dead and buried, the properties are sold. And persons want title, but they have a problem because they need subdivision, and they also have an issue as to root of title, because the proper thing to do was to have administered my estate, and then the personal representative would be positioned to sell. So these are some of the issues that we have. There are more, but these are the substantive ones that we have.
Okay, thank you. Andy?
I would say at the housing agency, one of the major challenges that we face pertains to encroachment. So you might have done a subdivision, especially in the brownfield. You do a subdivision and you do your pegging, and you point out to persons that you are not to move the peg and you are to stay within the confines of these the area allocated to you. But someone wants to make an addition, or the daughter my daughter has a baby and wants a
Put on a one room.
and you add a room and you carry it right over the boundary.
Just move the peg.
And move the peg. And some people remove the peg and encroach on others, blatantly remove the peg and encroach on others' properties. So by the time the certificates of titling, they are splintered. And you go back on the ground, it does not resemble what was approved. And in a sense, it costs the government a lot of money each year in ministry and in the agencies to resurvey and to be trying to correct these deficiencies on the ground. So that is a major challenge.
Thank you both so much. When we come back, we'll be talking about the systematic land titling as well as the housing solutions that are offered through the HAJ.
Over the past 2 years, we have built over 160 houses benefiting over 500 people in more than 48 constituencies. You too can benefit from the new social housing program. Simply visit your constituency office and complete the application form. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Building hope. Building Jamaica.
Welcome back. We are speaking with Mr. Young of the NLA and Mrs. Doreen Prendergast from the HAJ, and we're talking about all things land titling. Now we're going to be picking up with Mr. Young, and we're talking now about the systematic land titling program. What is that program about? How are you guys doing with it? What's happening with NLA and this program?
Unlike the ad hoc program, wherein we have to wait on persons to find the monies to survey their properties and to pay up their taxes and to come to us, systematic land registration is a bit different. It is active in 3 parishes, namely St. Catherine, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth, and there are plans to expand to other parishes. But what is so important about it is that the government funds this process in that they'll pay for the survey. Persons from our team will visit the locus or visit the parcel holders, collect the relevant information, prepare the record, have it displayed in the communities for a particular period of time. And once there are no objections, then the title is, the matter is submitted to the titles office for the title to be prepared, which is faster and way more efficient. And the cost associated is not placed on the owner of the land prior to completion.
I know that the NLA has issued over 8,000 titles under this particular program, and that's wonderful because I know that you're moving somewhere towards 12,000 for this year. What has the response been from the persons on the ground?
They are happy, and they are a lot more familiar with us now, so they readily provide the information to us. And with all confidence, we are saying to persons, you're still getting a registered title. Do feel confident to speak to us and provide us with the information. Don't be like others who, when they are left behind, they are saying, I really wanted to be a part of the process. So once we are in your area and you see the relevant notices, cooperate with us, provide the information, and you'll get your title within a reasonable time, and the cost that you'll pay is reasonable. And we will not come and arrest you and say you have to pay. But we do entreat you that as soon as you pay, you can collect your title.
Wonderful. So this whole talk about when we see persons on the platform and they say, oh, come and own a piece of the rock, own a piece of Jamaica. It's not just talk, but there's substance behind it because there's so much that you can gain. So many benefits from you having that land title.
Yes, and the reality is, persons are really occupying the rock, but there is no formality to it. So when you are now a part of the formal system, then it means that you are advertising to the world that this little parcel is owned by Miss Prendergast. So you can now do transactions with her. You can look on the NLA website on Eland and you'll see her name pop up as the bona fide owner. And you look at the valuation information, you'll see her just the same.
And you just mentioned Eland. Want to just put a plug in here for Eland? What is Eland?
Well, Eland is on our website. It's a platform wherein all land information is stored or housed, where you can get the valuation information. You can know if a property is registered or unregistered. And there are different rules if the land is registered versus whether it is unregistered. And we ask persons to visit the website and or to visit our offices to do a title search, because some of the times Mrs. Prendergast made reference to persons in engaging in formal settlement or formal settlement, and you have to be clear as to what you're settling on.
Yes.
Let me put it like that, because if you were to settle on Crown land, for you to claim it by way of possession, you need to be settling there for 60 years.
For how long?
60 years.
60.
Yeah, 60 years. So when you visit Eland, it will give you information as to who the owner is, the size, and the registration. And if you want a copy of the title, you can visit our office and pay a small fee, and you can get a copy of the title.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, thank you. So, MD, HAJ is not only about titling, but also about housing. And for many, many, many moons, HAJ has been delivering housing solutions to thousands of Jamaicans, and you've been doing so successfully. So talk to us about some of those housing solutions.
Now, we would have built quite a number of housing solutions right across Jamaica. In some places, people don't even imagine that we would have built some of these developments. When people find out that it is really the housing agency of Jamaica that would have built, you go to Wellington Glaze, you go to the Pines of Karachi, you go to White House in Westmoreland, just to name a few of these developments. So we are providers of affordable housing solutions. For the 2022-2023 financial year, we started about 3,700 and plus solutions. And we are doing so through the development of projects like the Sandown Palm in Portmore, Catherine Estate, as I mentioned, which is our flagship
that is a hot commodity.
It's a very hot commodity because those housing solutions are for the very ordinary people. The very ordinary people, one individual can get a benefit in that development. It's about approximately 1,650 solutions, one bedroom and studios. And when we started out at selling these units at $6.5 and $7 million.
But that is below the
$1 million. And the interesting thing is that the NHT is on board with us. NHT buys some of these units from us. And many of the beneficiaries are NHT contributors who wouldn't have otherwise been able to qualify for benefit. And there's no down payment.
Repeat.
There is no down payment. While there's a closing cost, there is no down payment. 100% financing is provided by the National Housing Trust.
All right, thank you, Emily. Now, as we prepare to wrap this conversation, what is this one thing that your agencies are doing towards national development, towards alleviating the poverty of, our fellow Jamaicans? What's that one thing that the NLA is doing and that the HAJ is doing?
I would say the one, it is difficult to answer that question because the one thing is not really the one thing,
All right,
I do a lot of things.
Nutshell.
Okay. I would say we ensure that persons have confidence in the land registration system. We process the matters in a timely manner. We assist persons who are facing challenges to access the different platforms as best as possible. We reach out to the potential landowners. We consistently educate persons as to how to engage in land transactions, and we are always willing to assist. So once persons contact us, we are always willing to assist them with information as best as possible, because I would say we are the repository. So it is only reasonable, and it is our culture to assist. So I would say that is substantively us.
Wonderful. And MD?
I would answer within the context of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as housing is a basic human right. And so our government has made that a part of its mandate. And the mandate of the government at present is to provide 70,000 housing solutions over its tenure. And we at the Housing Agency, we play a critical part in the delivery of those 70,000 housing solutions. As a matter of fact, we have committed to providing 14,000 solutions. And so the houses that I spoke to you about, the developments that we have started and those that are in planning, we intend to use those to meet this commitment. But we are providing the opportunity for persons to own a little piece of the rock, whether through a housing unit or a service lot. That is what we do. And of course, we look for those, we cater to those, the most marginalized can come to the Housing Agency of Jamaica and with our assistance can become homeowners of a piece of this rock.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Nicole. And thank you, MD Prendergast, for joining us today on MEGJC Matrix. Thank you for tuning into the MEGJC Matrix. I hope that today you'd have learned much more about land titling and, of course, much more about what the HAJ has to offer in terms of housing. We invite you to connect with the MEGJC on all socials at MEGJC_JM, and, of course, be sure to connect with our agencies, NLA at National Land Agency and HAJ at Housing Agency JA. Until next time, I'm Danny Clark.